Hey everybody! So this video was a request by one of my viewers, and I just wanted to let you guys know that if you ever have a request, please let me know in the comments because I am here to help. I make these videos to give language tips and advice, and it's not just advice that I think of, but I'm always looking for new ideas. So if you guys have any that you really want me to talk about, let me know and I will definitely add it to my list of ideas for videos. So, living in a monolingual country can be extremely hard when learning a foreign language because it's hard to find people to practice with. But surprisingly enough, if you look hard enough, you may actually find people around you who speak the language you're looking for. So my first piece of advice is to look within your own town. Look to see if there is a community that you might not know about because it's not super obvious, but just do a little bit of digging and see if you can find a community of people who speak the language that you're looking for. If not, check the towns surrounding yours if you don't feel like driving super far, just the ones right around yours. Because around my town predominantly speaks English, but the towns around me have many Spanish speakers. So if you're looking to practice Spanish, it's possible because there are many Spanish speakers in my area, just not within my town. But it's only like a 10-minute drive or a 20-minute drive to go practice. So I would recommend that. Also, if you find that you're not finding anything with digging, go on meetup.com. It's a website where you can have people organize meetups for all kinds of things, but you can search for languages, and you could search for even specific languages such as French or Spanish or even Chinese. So maybe you'll find a meetup in your area, and if not, you could set the amount of distance you're willing to go in order to go to the meetup, whether it's only 10 miles away or 50 miles. It's up to you. So go on meetups.com. But you can always see if someone around you is learning the language, and I know that's not the most helpful option because if you're speaking with someone else who's learning, they may not be able to correct you unless they are a more advanced speaker than you. And if that's the case, you may get set in a bad habit with speaking that language. You may make the same mistake over and over again that it kind of becomes more ingrained in your mind. And of course you can undo that eventually, but it's really hard. So I would say that is something you could look into, but I would leave it as one of the later options, unless you know that person speaks the language better than you. Also, if you go to school somewhere, now, whether it's high school or college, but this is going to be specifically for college/university, whatever you call it, see if there's an international student or a group of international students that speak the language that you're looking to practice. Because in my last school, we had a bunch of students who did speak Spanish, and I believe we had some Italian students as well. We had Chinese students, we had students that spoke Arabic, we had all kinds of languages. I knew a student who spoke Swahili, so just check within your school, and if you don't go to a college, it might be a little bit harder, but there actually might be people on your local campus, even if you don't go, and you could do a little bit of digging, maybe put up a poster or flyer that says you would like to do a language exchange, and see if you get any bites on it. But if you don't, then I would recommend going online. Now this is something I did all the time because I didn't do a lot of digging to see what kind of populations were around my town, but I looked online to go find language partners. And yes, that is the struggle of a monolingual country. You might end up having to go online to look for people. So I would go on websites like italki or Interpals, or I'm trying to remember other ones. Those were the main two that I had used. Oh yes, the app, HelloTalk, and they are specifically for language learning, so those people already know that you are looking to do an exchange, which is a good thing because they'll be less likely to respond in English, depending. But you can always try that. That's what I did for a while. I would Skype once or twice a week with people who spoke my target language. And it's really nice. It's like social media, but for language learning. It's very interesting, but I would highly recommend that because you do need some kind of speaking practice in order to get better at speaking. and I've used those websites and apps multiple times, so I can tell you that I really do like them and I would recommend them. But something else you could do is just immerse yourself in general. So this doesn't necessarily go for speaking. I mean, it can, but for listening and reading and writing, you can immerse yourself and you can get to a conversational level without even leaving your country. I'm from the United States, and I learned the majority of French and Spanish within my country before going abroad. If you see my videos from when I studied abroad and you look at the very first ones I made in that language, that was my level before going abroad. So that kind of gives you an idea. But for Spanish, there are Spanish speakers all over, and of course my mother is Spanish, so I practiced a lot with her, but I didn't have to leave the country to be immersed in it because I immersed myself. And then with French and Portuguese even, I found people online and I would talk to them for an hour, maybe two, but usually for an hour in that language, and then of course practice my native language with them as well. But it is super helpful. People are willing to help you out and correct you in a nice way most of the time. I would highly recommend that. So I was saying before about immersion and listening and reading and writing. So what I did when I was learning Spanish, because it was more than just speaking with my mom, was I would watch soap operas on TV. They have them on Netflix if you don't have a Spanish channel. But of course you can go online and even look up your favorite shows dubbed in Spanish. I'm sure you can find them somewhere. Usually I just go on YouTube, but if they don't have it on YouTube, I'll just look for another show. But I would immerse myself in watching shows that I would normally watch or that I liked in Spanish or French or Portuguese. And I would also write in my diary every day. I still do that to this day. I will do a day of Spanish, then the next day I'll write in French, and then the next day I'll write in Portuguese, and then start the cycle all over again. As far as listening goes, reading, there we go. As far as reading goes, if I needed to know about a subject, I'd go on Wikipedia and I would look up the subject, which I know people say don't go on Wikipedia to look things up, but this is not for writing an academic paper. This is just like I want to know about a certain singer or something. Well, I would go look them up on Wikipedia, but in Spanish or in French or in Portuguese. There are many articles that are out there, especially if you're learning a popular language. Then you can just type in the name of the person that you're looking up, or if it's not a person, if it's a place and you want to read about that, you can look it up. You don't have to go on Wikipedia. You could just type in your search bar on Google, or you could even use the Google Spain or Google France site or Google whatever country and Google that topic in that language so that articles pop up and you get to practice that way. Also, some websites have bilingual books online for free. I also found The Hunger Games in Spanish online for free and was able to read that. So just do some looking around. You could completely immerse yourself. Okay, not like totally where you're never speaking English, because of course you'll have people around you who want to speak to you in English, but if you do want an immersive environment, it is possible without leaving the country. And I am not the only one who has done this. I have seen other polyglots do it as well. And it's possible, so don't be discouraged if you live in a monolingual country. And I hope that these tips helped. I know I was trying to think of the tips that helped me the most with learning my languages, and I hope they're helpful to you. But if you're watching this and you have tips that I didn't mention, please leave them in the comments below, because they will help everybody who's learning languages and things. So please leave them below. Like I said, if you have a request, please let me know. Like and subscribe so that you remember you get notifications for these videos, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.